Jaka Indra.
Yo.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. What's up?
You look 52.
Oh, bro, I feel 52.
Yeah. That hairline is 52.
Okay, don't start now. Let's not talk about hairlines. This is my problem with a lot of other buyer's agents out there is they'll say, hey, look, I've got this great property. This is for you. How do you know that's good for me?
Well, usually when a client comes to you, what problem are you usually solving?
I find that clients come to us to give us the responsibility, to drive the results that they're after, to come through with an unbiased opinion. When you're doing it yourself, there's a lot of pressure. What if you make the wrong decision? What if I buy right? Should I not? And when it comes to property, we all know this. Time kills deals.
Of course.
By the time they realize, oh man, I want to pull the trigger on it, they probably would have already lost the property. So
And we see that every single day.
100%.
Hey guys, welcome to the Money Room. And today we've got a special guest. Actually, he works for Property Avenue. I'll tell you what he does. He does a couple of things. Go dancer, Podium Dancer, does everything. Great dad, husband, what do they call him? Fitness model, hand model.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But the main man himself, firstly, my bro, what's your name? Tell me how old you are and what do you do?
Oh man, cool. All right, well, my name's Jaka Indra,
Okay, all right.
as you know. I am 39.
You look 52.
Oh, bro, I feel 52.
Yeah, that hairline is 52.
Okay, don't start now. Let's not talk about hairlines.
Oh.
39, turning 40.
Okay,
Soon
cool.
to be 40.
Indra, what's that? Indra.
I am Indra.
Apa kabar?
It's actually short for Indra Putra,
Indra Putra.
which means son of Indra.
Man,
My
son
dad
of Indra.
is Indra.
Yeah.
So I'm the son of Indra.
Man, fantastic.
That's it.
That's good.
Very
Apa kabar?
Bye.
Baik. Cool.
Cool. Father of two.
Okay.
What do I
Love
do?
it. No, tell me about your kids.
Oh, tell me
Father
about my
of two?
kids.
Two.
Father of two. I got two beautiful daughters.
Love it.
I have Ariana, which is 7, turning on 8.
Okay, love it.
She is a very, very young teenager.
Yeah.
Got a bit of sass, got a lot of sass. And then we've got Jalen.
You're the dad,
who's
obviously.
Jalen, 4 years old.
Sure.
Feels like she's 18.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Both great kids, great people.
Right.
Really keeps me on my toes
Love it.
and is the reason why I do everything.
Man, that is beautiful. Seriously. Yeah.
They're beautiful.
You
They
okay?
deserve it all.
You okay?
I'm good.
You wanna...
You're beautiful.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. But we didn't came here today. Oh my God. Any English? We didn't come here today to collaborate and to chat. Everyone's laughing. It's just a good time here today at this podcast. My God, any English? You're lucky that I'm good in finance and property.
Fantastic.
Ching. So, Jack, I just want to have a conversation. I know you work in the business. You've done finance your whole life. Whatever it is, tell me what you've done over the last, say, 20 years. How was the 1980s for you?
The 1980s, man. So, 84.
It's a joke. It's a joke. What's the last 10 years you've done?
I remember the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very clearly. I remember jumping on the plane, actually, coming to Australia.
Okay.
Anyways, let's fast forward.
Sure.
The last 10 years, what have I been doing? I had been working in finance. Actually, to the date, 2014. I think 2014, I was starting out in brokering. I actually left corporate world. I left NAB.
Oh, wow.
I studied a science degree.
Really?
So, when you call me, bit of a nerd, it's pretty valid.
You are.
Yeah. I still got my white lab coat, man. I still love doing science with the kids,
It's great.
all that stuff. Anyways, did a science degree, bioinformatics. Don't tell me what
Cool.
that is. You can look that up. Got out of uni. I actually worked as a real estate agent, as a super junior person.
Where?
Literally like knocking on doors.
Really? I mean, like, first and foremost, real estate agents have the hardest jobs. Seriously, if you guys are real estate agents out there, I commend you. It's a tough gig. Door knock, cultivate. You probably get your first client within 6 months to a year. So, any agents out there, kudos to you. Much love for you guys.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I started off as what they call a shoe shine. You come in, you basically just assist everybody. You go in, you knock on doors, you put up signs, you do all the leaflets. I probably went through about 3 pairs of shoes every 6 months or so.
Oh, right, okay.
Because just the amount of wear and tear, knocking on every door. I know Liverpool like the back of my hand.
Really?
So,
so Liverpool was your farm area?
Yeah, that was my farm area. And
2170.
2170, and we were competing with I think it was about 30 different agencies at the time, and then each agency had about 5 or 6 different agents within there. So really slugged it out coming out of uni. It helped me build my character actually. So a lot of rejections, a lot of knocking on doors, knock knock, who's there kind of thing, and they said, get lost, get out of here, kind of thing. So that was interesting. And then I moved on into finance, actually by accident. That's another story to tell. But I worked for Bank West, and then went through NAB, in which I met my first mentor, who then carried me across the different areas of NAB. Worked at private banking, and actually worked in the broker channel for NAB. And at that point, that's when I realized I'm on the wrong side of the channel.
Sure. Okay.
Or the wrong side of the
channel is fine.
Channel is fine. Yeah. And then I think it was 2014. I went out and became a broker. We started a humble little office at Liverpool and then expanded to Parramatta in the city as well.
Sure.
The team grew a bit, and yeah, we wrote millions and millions of dollars worth of loans. Helped out a lot of clients. In that brokering space, it was actually quite refreshing because we could work with clients on an unbiased level.
Of course.
Working at the bank, you can only offer one product.
Did you have that feeling working in Bank West or NAB that you could only offer one product at times?
Yeah, and I think I look back at it, and we were really just selling one product, and that product had to be right or wrong for the client. The client either fit the piece or it didn't. And so we just had that one product to offer, and it was challenging because at the end of the day, as much as you wanted to help the client, you knew that there were better products out there. So going out and then becoming a broker, having access to, what was it? At the time, maybe like 40, 50 different lenders. Mm-hmm. It was very refreshing. Sure. It was nice to know that I could help the clients there on an unbiased level, have a whole suite of different products,
right?
Financial, different lending products, different brands.
Sure.
It was like having a whole new toolbox of all these different tools that you can help your clients with.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So we did that, and then actually, again at that point, we transitioned out of the business. There was a few partners. Business grew a bit big. We all went our separate ways. I actually went back into the corporate space just to get a bit of a refresher, and then I came here. I came here to Property Avenue.
You knocked on our door.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. It was just, who's there? It's me.
Okay, good. So you've been obviously doing a lot of the client stuff, helping them from structuring, planning acquisitions, kind of the whole works, right? It's pretty interesting. You've been doing it for a number of years now, fairly successful at it, which has been great. My question to you is usually what are the problems you solve for clients, or how do we say this? Well, usually when a client comes to you, what problem are you usually solving?
Sure. I think it's certainty in results.
Interesting.
That's probably the biggest one. When clients come to us, the fact of the matter is people can buy property. People can go out and go buy property themselves. A lot of the time they sit on the fence. They don't know what they don't know. They don't want to pull the trigger and make the decision. They feel like that there's a lot of weight and responsibility on themselves. I find that clients come to us to give us the responsibility to drive the results that they're after, to come through with an unbiased opinion. When people buy property, there's a lot of emotion involved. When in fact, especially if you're buying an investment, you should take the emotion out of the picture, right? And 1 + 1 = 2. It's all numbers. Numbers should stack. You should get all your facts in front of you and put all those things to your favor, and then pull the trigger. When you're doing it yourself, there's a lot of pressure. What if you make the wrong decision? What if I buy right? Should I not? And when it comes to property, we all know this: time kills deals.
Of course.
By the time they realize, oh man, I want to pull the trigger on it, they probably would have already lost the property. So,
and we see that every single day.
100%.
One of our clients just previously before came here. We did a podcast as well. The same thing. He used us because of speed.
Yeah.
Speed to get in.
Yeah.
So yeah, time does kill deals.
Absolutely. And I think, look, let's be real. Our clients, they don't do this full time. They have jobs. They have jobs that they need to attend to. They work a 9 to 5. Maybe they have their own business. They've got their own clients that they need to look after. When do they have time apart from the weekends, which is when everyone else is looking, everyone else is inquiring, or late at night when no one is responding? When do they actually have the time to be able to negotiate and do all these things without actually interfering with their own lives? The idea of buying property at first is exciting until you get into the motions of it. And then people get frustrated. They get outbid. They lose out on offers. They realize that they've been gazumped in some instances. And I think it's those pain points that the clients come to us and say, well, hey, look, I want to leave this responsibility up to you.
Of course.
We do this 24 hours in the day.
Sure.
Like our team in Australia and overseas as well. So effectively, we're working around the clock. What client has that time to be able to do that? We do this day in, day out. And so, we have the hours to be able to assess different properties and different metrics, to assess the different suburbs, different metrics and performance of different areas around the country.
I'm super, super curious. And I want to put myself in a position here, not that we work together. I want to put this position here as genuinely curious. What do you think is the problem with a lot of buyers agents, property experts? Because a lot of the clients that has seen us, they're probably seen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 property experts, quote unquote, or buyers agencies, quote unquote, or mortgage brokers independently, or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
But usually, we haven't really went to market because been busy the way it is now, which is good. Kind of feels like a very exclusive club. So I do want to just get your pick and be like, why do you think we're different? Why do you think you're different in comparison to these property experts?
Yeah, I think our background in finance, my background in finance, property is only one piece of the puzzle. The fact that we understand finance, the fact that we come from a background of finance, understanding how, or through the clients that we've worked with through finance, even way before property, understanding how those that are successful have structured their investment portfolio, what they've bought, the returns that they've been chasing, allows us to have that conversation first with the clients. And yes, we work with partners that are brokers and accountants. And so most of the time our clients are prepped up for it. But to be able to then continue the conversation in the same way, I think carries a lot of weight.
Because you know what? I want to just jump in.
Of course.
And it's going to be a rant more than anything else.
Sure.
I think our competition is great. I think what the industry is doing for clients is fantastic. Honestly, there's enough business out there. I think what's frustrating that I'm seeing, that we're seeing at the moment, is that a lot of these property experts focus on top level structure or top level understanding of what finance is. They're not really in there, breaking down policies. They're not in there breaking down the risk appetites for banks, talking to credit, talking regarding what the risk appetite is in general. Because I think property data is great, but I don't think property data should be just one form of reliance. I think it should be bank data, finance data, strongly around those risk appetites. And obviously some areas will have certain risk appetites, like some security types. Why do you think other people, other property experts just are not in too deep with policies and understanding, finance structures?
Absolutely. Because they're in it for the transaction.
Ooh.
That's
interesting.
They want the sale. There are other buyers agents out there that are actually just selling developer stock. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. Right? There's value in that, but
there's no value in that. Look, I love you, man, but there's value in that in certain aspects, yes. Right. But at the same time, though, you go scenario to property acquisition, not property that fits the scenario. I think if you go property first before the client, everything falls apart.
Well, that's let's go back when I was working for the bank, directly underneath a bank brand. I'd have a client come up to me and I say, great, this is why the bank that I work for is great for you. But in no way is it unbiased. I have to almost force that opinion upon you and tell you why it's great. But
that's so interesting.
I don't know really, compared to what that's out there. I'll just sell you what I've got to offer. And when you just have that in terms of, let's say, limited stock or even ties with particular, let's say, builders or developers, and that's all you can offer, then of course you're going to go property first. and then you're going to try and sell that and then try and justify it. And I think this is where Property Avenue is really, really different. We go in, we understand our clients first. We understand our clients' financial metrics, their goals, their objectives, their current financial position and where they want to be.
Sure.
Dissect that, analyze that, and then create a brief on the client. Sure. And then from that point, then we go and hunt for the property. You're on realestate.com right now. I think there's 27,000 properties for sale. We're not limited by stock, by relationships that we have. Once we identify the client's brief, because a good investment property for me may be terrible for you. Each to their own. And this is my problem with a lot of people out there. With other buyers agents out there, is they'll say, hey, look, I've got this great property. This is for you. How do you know that's good for me? Man, if I was a 20-year-old kid, 20-year-old adult, what's important to me is going on holidays, spending money on lifestyle items. And so for me, cash flow is important when it comes to property. I've got another 20, 30 years of work and I can write out 4 or 5 real estate cycles. But if I'm 55 or let's say 50, I've only got 5 years until the banks will probably start limiting my borrowing.
Sure.
And for me, I'm established in my career. If I'm 55, maybe I want a bit of negative gearing. Cash flow is probably not important. I just want really, really quick capital growth. So how can you say that this investment property is good for both the guy in his 20s and the guy that's 50?
Sure.
2 different things. We have to understand, here at Property Avenue, we understand our clients to the T. Understand that their goals, their objectives, yet might be the same as someone else that's in very similar shoes, but they're different at the same time.
Sure.
Everyone's got different appetites as well.
It's pretty interesting, the conversation we're having now. Where do you think the market's going to go? Like, I know, but a lot of shifting in owner-occupied space to investor space is like 35% growth of investor lending over the last, I think, month. Some pretty interesting stats on that. What do you think's happening now? And look, we've been in the market, we've been pushing investment for the last, say, 2 or 3 years because we knew that borrowing capacity was going to be limiting. We knew that already with the higher rates. But rates are pretty stable at the moment. We're going to see some drops, I think, right? But rates have kind of not changed, but now investor lending has increased pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's happening?
People need to do stuff with their money. I think people have seen so much opportunity that they've either realized or even potentially missed out on in the last few property cycles. We saw what the pandemic did to the property market. We saw the property market a few years before that. Let's just look at the property market over the last 10, 12 years. Yes, there are those doom and gloomers out there that are always saying, oh, there's a property bubble, it's going to burst, it's going to pop, property prices are going to go down 40%. That's been the same conversation ever since I started my career in finance.
Of course.
And yet, yes, okay.
So that was like 15, 20 years ago.
Correct.
Basically.
Exactly. And yet, okay, cool. We see little dips.
Of course.
But they're only temporary dips. When we look at property in the long term, which most of the time, most people look at property for the long term, right?
Of course.
It trends upwards. And so the reality is, you mentioned interest rates stabling out. People are going to start being a little bit more confident. They're going to say, okay, cool. Rates aren't going there. We can start predicting, or they can start forecasting their finances for the future. And especially with the shortage of housing, we've look at the migration numbers versus the building approval numbers.
Of course.
They're
we're not even, and migration's a whole different topic in itself.
Correct.
Maybe we can get you again to come back, but there's two types of migration numbers. The first migration number is actual international migration, but no one's really talking about the national migration. People from, NSW moving to Melbourne, people from NSW moving to Queensland, moving to Perth. No one's really talking about that, which is scary too, because that's just going to create another influx.
100%.
Do you let's just play a game, right? Do you think we're going to see another boom?
Absolutely.
I think we're going to go to. I think when rates start to cut, even if it's 0.25, I think we're going to see an aggressive move in property.
Australians have been addicted to property for generations. It's the number one wealth generator in terms of asset class in Australia. So I think by default, people always want to turn to property. It's just now about affordability, right? Okay, cool. You might not be able to borrow as much, but I live in Sydney. We live in Sydney. Everyone here is talking about buying in Sydney as an investment. Cool. Average price, probably about 1.1 million in Sydney. Not everyone can do that, but people still want to invest.
Sure.
So they're going to shift their money somewhere where they can invest. And the fact post-COVID, people are moving, they realize that, okay, I don't need to travel to the city for work. I don't actually need to be in Sydney. I can go live in Queensland or live anywhere by the coast, Central Coast, wherever it may be, Perth for that matter, and I can still work my corporate job.
Crazy.
And I can still surf at the end of the day. We've seen this domestic migration move.
Agreed.
And so, yes, international migration, domestic migration, of course. And so this is why we've seen the boom in areas outside of the capital cities. Like when we first got into Perth, when was that? Probably 24 months ago?
Everyone thought we were nuts.
Yeah.
Everyone thought we were crazy.
Of course, there was that stigma of Perth being all about
Do you remember
money.
South Australia?
Mm.
I think rates were relatively cheap. We were in SA.
Yeah.
And then rates started increasing every single month. Remember that?
Yep.
Our clients thought that we were kind of nuts. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And where are they now?
Exactly. They're double.
Yeah.
Right. I think the fact of the matter is, like, property, people have realized equity here in let's say Sydney or in the capital cities. They want to do something with it.
Of course.
They want to create wealth. We have this conversation with our clients as well.
Makes sense.
Especially those that actually have no intention to buy investment properties. That's because they don't know why they want to invest.
You know what? Like, I think that's an ongoing conversation too, because now people are turning on their ears and turning on their heads. Because before, the only resource that you got was media, Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 10, and your uncle who's bought in, Vaucluse for 500 grand. So I think that's the education has now changed. It's like, hang on, I need to fulfill what I want to fulfill based on my current situation. That's so interesting. Yeah. What do you think has been the biggest trend that we're seeing? Like, where are you seeing purchases happen? Because I'm seeing a lot of trends in SMSF.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think people have realized that they've got a significant balance in SMSF. I know once upon a time, from a lending space, SMSF was big, and then a lot of the major lenders pulled back off it, and I think they still have.
Well, if you're with a major lender, they're not going to service that loan anyway, so you might as well just take it out. If you apply any rate discretion, I remember, was it Westpac or WBC, one of the big fours? They sent an email that's basically saying to refinance out anyway.
That's
separate topic.
When all the majors pulled out, but absolutely, SMSFs. I think super funds have been rewarded for poor performance in their portfolios.
Wow!
Once upon a time,
repeat that again.
Super funds, superannuation funds, were rewarded and paid for poor performance. Did I say that right? Poor performance.
Yeah. It's good.
Poor performance.
It's right.
Yeah, once upon a time, I remember I was reading an article in the Fin Review, and the average super funds, they were returning like -1%, 2% per year, and they were still getting their fees.
Crazy.
Like, what the heck is that? To make a loss, to dampen the loss on your super fund.
I like. It's crazy. Obviously, we work in finance and acquisitions, but everyone kind of forgets that there's leverage in super. You got, say, 50 grand. Let's call it 200,000 as a balance.
Yeah.
You buy shares or whatever the case may be. You're going to buy 200 grand worth of shares.
Yeah.
In property, you have leverage.
Yeah.
So 200 grand could buy you an $800,000, $900,000 security. I'm not saying that's the case, obviously case by case, but everyone forgets about that leverage. I think now only people are understanding, wow, my 100 grand super could actually buy me a 400 grand property. And if they decide to hold it for 30 years with the repayments, they've just manufactured 400 grand out of thin air. Obviously keeping the tenant and make sure principal's being paid down, but absolutely.
Exactly. I get young guys or young clients come up to me and say, hey, I've only got X amount of dollars. What can I do with that money? Should I save some more? The fact of the matter is like, how much can you leverage off that? Cool. Okay, you've only got 50,000. How
much do you think is a good deposit or a good contribution
from super?
Or just from super or anything?
Look, of course, this is more so a conversation that a planner or an accountant should be having, but lenders will allow anything from, I think its minimum is about 150,000. That's generally the rule of thumb. You got 150,000 within your super, then it meets some of the lenders' criteria. Then, of course, you can
and some lenders
then.
do zero liquidity as well. Anyway,
exactly.
Yeah. Again, it's not financial advice. Speak to your accountant, speak to your financial planner, but you can go to zero liquidity.
Yeah,
some lenders.
But we've seen once upon a time, self-managed super fund lending used to just be for those that are self-employed that wanted to buy the office that they were in so they can rent out to their own business, right?
Of course.
Or warehouses that they can rent out to their own manufacturing or distribution business. But now we're starting to see that transition go to more your mum and dad investors. Now we're starting to see people, especially those in the medical field, right? They've been working their butts off throughout COVID, overtime, 7 days, double shifts. Their super's just grown. The conversation that we're having
still negative 1 or 2%.
Correct. Correct. So I think it's just time that people make their money work harder than themselves.
Sure. Interesting. Yeah. You've done it all, right? I remember even your property journey, you've done everything. You've done flips, you've done development, you've done managed fund, you've done super. Man, you've got a crazy property resume. What's the best experience you've had? But what's the worst experience you've had?
The best experience. Actually, the worst experience. Probably just mistiming the market.
Okay.
Being forced to sell or holding on to a property for too long.
I don't understand that. You just let go of it. If it doesn't work, sell it.
Yeah. Well,
I never understood that.
This is the thing. I think, look, I've been there. I've been in the shoes of a lot of my clients, buying the wrong property or buying into a property that you thought it was right and just waiting for the time to be right and just like copying the costs to hold the property. I should have let go of it sooner, to be honest, or just make a decision to hold it for the long term.
Of course.
I bought a property. It was it was in Southeast Queensland, long time ago. Super cheap. Initially, when I purchased it, it was relatively neutral, if not positive. But then over time, expenses crept up.
Of course.
And I just continued to hold on to it.
Sure.
I had the mentality of just hold on to property. Don't sell it. It's an investment. It's an investment. But how is it an investment? It was costing me money.
Sure.
And then eventually I was like, okay, I'm sick of it. And I had to sell it. Call it forced sale in the sense that it just wasn't working within my budget anymore.
Sure.
And then because of that, because the investment wasn't working for me in terms of cash flow, I sold it too soon.
Sure. Makes sense.
So bad decision. I should have sold it sooner and not have to like lose out on all the money to upkeep this property.
Sure.
I think that's the biggest mistake, or that's a mistake that I made. One of the best experiences is buying in cheap into an area, renovating on the property, adding manufacturing value, and selling it for almost double.
And I remember that project actually. Yeah. What was that project again?
It was in Blacktown.
That's right.
Bought a place in Blacktown. What was it? It was about 315,000.
Wow.
To purchase.
Crazy.
Literally renovated it with 2 credit cards.
Wow.
Yeah, because planned it out right. Knew that I had 3 to 4 months tops.
Sure.
Literally just used everything on credit cards.
Cool.
Sold it 4 months later, 5 months later, almost double.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah. And then the guy that bought it after me sold it for double again.
Wow.
Without doing anything to it.
Well, your renovation was very, very good, my bro. Cool. Next, I do want to talk about your clients for a second.
Of course.
There's a lot of misconceptions about, using someone to acquire property. It's been relatively new, but it's moved pretty quickly. As in, a lot more people are using experts, quote unquote experts, to find property. What's the biggest misconceptions usually clients, the biggest misconceptions clients usually feel, or talk about when they see you?
The biggest misconceptions that they think about when they see me,
or when they see any property guys, but obviously I'm talking to you because
okay. Well, to put me in the same basket as, let's say, a real estate agent.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I'm not here to sell you something. That's the last thing. The sale of something is just an outcome from the conversations that we have. I like it when clients come to me and consult. That's always been my method. Yeah. Whenever I have conversations with clients, it's never a handful of questions or one pages. We go deep. And so for a client to come and think that I'm going to sell them a property, completely off. Most of the time, I actually hate selling, if I'm honest with you. I never want to sell something to a person, but I do want to guide the person the right way. So then that way they can go and make their own effective decision at the end of the day.
Of course.
So consulting, clients coming to me to consult their thoughts, and for me to produce a solution at the end of the day. And that solution may be a property, may not be a property.
I love it when clients usually come to us and be like, the last property person I spoke to told me that my budget's 900,000.
Yeah.
And we're like, why do you have to spend 900,000?
Yeah.
Why do you have to spend 850?
Yeah.
If that, right?
Yeah.
You could, mitigate risk by getting $350,000, $400,000 securities better than one big budget per se.
Absolutely. That's a valid point. Like the same person that buys one property for 1.5 million, if that tenant moves out, that's his whole portfolio vacant, right? I've had conversations with clients where, that turns into 5 properties for 300,000, where if one tenant moves out, that's only just a fraction.
I think people get into property not understanding risk too. And everything is relevant. What I'm trying to say by relevant is, yes, we could talk about growth, and we've had exceptional growth from a lot of clients, but I've always been the pessimistic one. Always been like, well, how much are you going to lose? And they're like, I don't want to start off the conversation like that, but I like to, because let's say you got 20% growth on 1.5 million. You got 20% growth on $400,000 security. Let's flip it the other side. 20% loss on 1.5 million is one number. 20% loss on 400 grand is a different number too. So whilst the percentage is the same, the relevancy is different in a lot of ways, right? The loss is different in a lot of ways. And I think entering markets, not just for growth, but understanding the mitigating factors of risk is actually what's super important. And I think you've experienced that too with some of your clients as well.
An interesting point that you make, because some people are either motivated by growth, but then some people are motivated by pain.
Of course.
At the same time.
Understood.
And you put it into perspective like that, it's like,
cool.
Taking 20% loss on a 1.5, that's a lot.
That's far out.
And mind you, markets move at different rates too, right?
Of course.
We talk about national housing markets, but that's on a macro level. At the end of the day, like, the city market may be doing well or maybe doing bad, but then you've got other states that are doing heaps better.
It's crazy as well, because like some people talk about states. It's like, man, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of suburbs within that state. Yes, you look at a state as a micro economy, but then there's micro economies within those. And again, people just are so easy to just be like, this state is crap. It's like, that state is not crap. The suburb that you're looking at is shit.
Correct.
But that other suburbs, those are fantastic.
That's right.
Anyways, you're going to get my blood boiling. It's fine. All good. Cool. Now, we're going to the last segment.
Okay.
And look, I want to do this more often. We should do this more often.
We should, man.
How come we're not doing this more often?
I think we do, but it's just offline.
Sure. Yeah. We just press record.
That's it.
Cool. Now, top 5 rapid questions. You ready for this?
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. Is there a purchase you made that you wish you could take back?
Yeah.
Do not say your wife.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to know what it is?
Okay. What is it?
It's the house that I live in. Terrible purchase.
Wow.
Yeah. People think that the house that they buy.
Oh, that just now flipped the script. Like, that's okay. Like, give me some. This was supposed to be fast, but like,
let's go into the details.
Let's go. I want to know this. Go.
The house that I bought. You'd think it's the biggest asset that you have.
Sure.
Okay. I always ask myself this question: how is it an asset? It's not creating me an income. If anything, like the same house, if I rented it, would probably be $1,000 a week. But the mortgage on it is like 4 times the amount. It's nuts. If I could save the difference, I should have just reinvested.
Sure.
Right? I could have just rented that and I could have bought more and more properties.
We need another podcast session for that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If everything tomorrow was gone, how would you rebuild your life?
I would find whether a job or a commission only, anything, try and earn as much income as I can and just invest most of the dollars. Like whether if gardening paid me the best tomorrow, I would just take it up. Just earn as much money and make my money work 5 times harder than myself.
Crazy. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you do? You would be a podium dancer. You would know that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No,
I mean, look, I learned all the moves from you. Once upon a time, I'd line up at the club and say, "I know the podium dancer," and that was.
Come on, like you can't. That's a.
Show some of your moves. Come on.
No,
you don't have a little dancer.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
Pull it from.
Please, like, do not do that. Like, please don't do that.
Oh, here we go. Put some T-Pain on.
Do not do that. Okay, cool. And then, but what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I can't say travel.
No, close.
Okay, cool. All right. Because I love to travel every opportunity I get. If I wasn't doing what I was doing now,
yeah.
To be honest, I can't imagine a life not doing what I'm doing.
You really love your clients, eh?
I really do.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
you've seen the amount of, you've seen how long I spend with
100%.
my clients.
It's good because, like, sorry, this sounds so corny, but there's every fiber of every being to our clients, both in finance and property side, to a level that's just unhealthy. Like, I really want them to do well.
Yeah. There's clients that I've been speaking to for years. Sorry, I won't even call them clients because they're not my clients yet.
Yeah.
But I've been speaking to them for years. And I speak to them out of genuine passion and care and interest in the conversation and knowing that I can impact the conversation. And yes, there are clients that I have now that have taken years to come around. There are clients that I've just converted in the last 6 months that I started that I started the conversation when my career started.
Sure.
And that's okay with me. If I can add value to them,
love it.
They'll come around.
Love it. What's one thing you won't stop buying, good or bad?
One thing I won't stop buying. Oh, man.
One thing, come on.
It's a bad addiction. But at the same time,
you like watches?
I do like watches. Okay. Even though I'm always late.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's silly. But I love it.
Look, investment, right? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okie dokie.
Don't look at the Rolex market in the last 6
months.
The
Rolex market has been interesting, huh?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, they were great investments.
Yeah.
But it's not the market for it now.
Maybe that's another topic.
That's another topic.
Rolex investing or watch investing. Well, watch investing has made some money. We've got some guys who's really made a lot of careers in luxury watches. But Rolex market in itself at the moment, not the best.
Rather than watch investing, I'd rather watch my investment.
Ooh. Say that again.
Rather than watch investing.
Watch investing.
I'd rather watch my investments.
Come on now. What's something money can never fix for you?
Can never fix. I think relationships.
Okay.
Relationships. Because I've had relationships. Look, there's been times when I've had no money. There's been times that I've had a good amount of money. And both those times, relationships have all remained the same. All the good relationships that I have. I mean, yes, you can throw money at a relationship, but it doesn't actually fix it. It's just temporarily fix. So, I think that's probably the cool thing.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to say thank you for coming onto the show. I know there's going to be a bit more consistent stuff. I want to talk specifically about the markets. Today was just about getting to know you and what you do. Any parting words?
Well, no. Look, thank you for having me today. It was an absolute honor. I'd love to talk more. I think you've really cut this short. We should talk longer next time.
We should.
But yeah, man, thank you for the opportunity.
Done. Jaka, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it, man.